Welcome back to another episode where this time I look at tarot origins and afterlives. I don't usually go to this part of London, to be honest, so I was a little bit lost. This is why I'm showing you around at the Warburg Institute. It just captured me. It was a very nice area and it had a brilliant Waterstones nearby as well, which I adored. Now, going on into the exhibition, I was actually welcomed by these original cards, which are quite old, obviously, as you can see, and 20th century cards that you've got here. Now we're going to look at some of these ones with the star, the page, etc., which I'm just about to show you. So like the Four of Swords there, star here, the indentation on the actual cards with the gilded metal. For me, each one of these felt like an individual piece of artwork in themselves. Historic, I'm bad at saying that word, so someone please do help me. I'm a big fan of, however, I know not everybody is, but if you can take a moment just to appreciate the visuals of artwork if you're not into this, because what I find very interesting is someone has had to draw these for different styles over time, and the origins is really been captured beautifully in this exhibit. So we start with tarot becomes Egyptian, and it talks about it actually coming from an Egyptian origin originally, and with a certain book that was in here as well. This is her name is Alice, and no, sorry, Pamela Coleman Smith, sorry, I don't know why I said Alice, and Austin, and these were people that did the kind of tarot cards that everybody's familiar with. This series that's been very popular since the 70s. Now, with the artist who actually drew these, it was actually the woman, it wasn't him, and he was the one who kind of organised it and put it into actually practices of magic and brought it into the occult and stuff. But apparently this was a commission job for actress artist, and she used to listen to music while actually doing her work, and kind of just felt and let that spirit guide her while drawing them. I find her cards really beautiful and her illustrations really beautiful, and this is from the Rider Tarot deck. Obviously, and this is a bit of the information about in the book, and when it was just basically being launched, you can look at these into bigger pieces. That's the tarot for Bohemians. This is a deck that I actually own myself, and not this particular deck, but the obviously the replica 70s version, and I adore them. What I found really interesting was Austin, who was the actual person who pushed this out there. This was him learning. This is his notes on the cards, where he's got actually bits where you can see further below, if they reversed, if they right, what the meaning should mean. For example, with upright meaning for the tarot, and you can see next to the star, and they have the reverse meanings underneath, so depending which way when you pull them, you could actually get the understanding straight away. I also found that certain ones he did doodles, so they link together, etc., and that is quite interesting because obviously sometimes some cards do help each other's out in the deck. Yeah, for me, I found this extremely fascinating. It is a niche one. It's not the same as my usual style of videos, and next week we will be looking at National Portrait Gallery's book, so fear not, don't let this deter you if you're not interested in the tarot as much as I am. If you are interested, thank you for staying on so far. And this was a beautiful notes. It was just looking at the actual styles. I found it very peaceful actually, just looking at this one as well, and just looking at this exhibit. So this is going on to another style of a tarot. This was the Egyptian inspired one, and I found this reminded me of like 1930s kind of cubic kind of style pictures, the way they were painted. It was a lot of detail in them, a lot of energy, but they almost felt like they could be in a HR Gaga illustration for a horror film, for example. There was something quite dark about them, and it twisted with my mind. And not just because that one's death, this one is success that you're going to see, and again it just feels like that same kind of energy for me. There was one that we will come to, which is of the, yes, here it is, the Tower, and this is a card in the deck I never personally like to pull. I don't like to see. I'm not interested in it. I don't welcome it, and it's a very destructive card. I personally find I went through something at the time of pulling this, and I just looking at this one, the chaos of fire coming out the mouth, all seeing either people falling here out of burning, this kind of monster and swords almost from rays coming out with by the towers on flames and the exits being blocked by this kind of monster of flames. It's a great image because it kind of says everything I feel about that particular card, to be honest. And these ones I thought were just really beautifully illustrated. I didn't vibe personally with them as well myself as with the other ones I mentioned, but this was just another selection for you to actually see. So here we're just looking at the cards in actual card form from the Book of Four, which you were just seeing on the illustrated beautiful picture versions of them, and that's an actual tarot deck, and that was the actual framed pictures of them, because obviously they weren't cards over the enlarged paintings from them. There was this other section where there was more on contemporary style, which I found quite interesting, where it had quantum computing mentioned, IBM. It also had a section which had COVID mentioned, and it had heavy internet, for example, Web 2.0, Web 1.0. It had Greta Thunberg mentioned in one of the cards. You can see Jim Channon mentioned here. They had even a deck that had like a Keith Haring bit, which sadly I didn't capture because somebody was kind of in the way of there, and I was trying to be respectful to people's privacy while walking around. There's Greta, as I was just mentioning. And these would have all been bigger pictures that would have turned into a deck as well. So that's the Warburg Institute behind me. Hopefully you can hear me okay because there's some building going on just over there. And it was actually a really lovely exhibition. It was nice to also walk around this area, see a bit of actually London I'm not familiar with, and it was quite small and busy and packed. So I do find actually just having like my camera in my bag, I already felt like I was a bit of an inconvenience in a way for some people, but they did have backpacks on and didn't take them off. But so I would say try and pack small because of the space when you go there. Otherwise it's a free exhibition, it's lovely, it's good to see. It's a little bit creepy at parts, but it's also really interesting how art and this spirituality and Egyptology and has been used, and occultism, and so many different ways people have interpreted the tarot. So I let you have a look, see what you think, drop me a comment below, and it's really noisy here so I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching.